How are we doing, people? It's Mark here from the Throwback store, and you are tuned in to episode 16.
16
of the Throwback podcast. I'm here with my guy, Ginger Shaq, in pastures new today. Very plain background. Normally that's his jersey out, but yeah, he's undercover.
The cover of darkness.
How are we doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, to be fair, mate. A couple of days left at work. And then I've got Christmas Day off. And then back at work again for a 9-day slog. But, yeah.
I've done all right this year. I'm off. I'm in Christmas Eve, then I'm off Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and the day after. So I've got those 3 days off, which is nice. Never normally get that.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
But I'm in all New Year.
Can't he complain?
Yeah. But enough about us. NBA basketball was back last night. It's gonna be what day is it today?
Wednesday.
Okay, so I'm gonna drop this tomorrow. Yeah.
Spicy.
Yeah. So I'm gonna drop this on the Thursday, which is Christmas Eve. A little Christmas Eve gift for the fans. Probably drop her about 8 o'clock ish tomorrow. Something like that. Give me plenty of time to edit it and stuff. So, yeah, this is going to be a bit of a quick turnaround. But, yeah, we had NBA basketball last night. 2 games. Did you catch any of the games?
I caught some of the highlights this morning. Do you know what? We've just been, I said on a previous pod, we've just been basketball starved. We've just not had any hoops, and to have meaningful hoops back was quite big. And they were 2 quite interesting games because obviously there was storylines in both of them. The Nets look fucking good, don't they?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
You don't want to blow smoke up people's asses, and as much as you want to turn around and be like, oh, well, the Warriors aren't at full strength. I'm not talking about how the Warriors played. I'm talking about the fact that, the Nets looked good.
They did look good. They did. But like you say, you don't know if the Warriors are just going to be dead. The Warriors are just a strange anomaly, aren't they? In that, obviously they had KD, but before that, I think they took for granted the other players they had, the likes of Iguodala,
Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, I think we've all took those for granted because when they've left, like you say, the likes of Durant was there, and it kind of didn't affect them in that way because they had all of the guys. They had Durant, Steph, Clay, Draymond, all fit, all healthy, all playing. And it was unbelievable. But without 2 of those, and not only without 2 of those, you've got rid of Durant and you've got rid of Clay and you've added Wiggins into the team, which... to say it's not the perfect fit is an understatement. He just doesn't seem like he fits that philosophy to me at all.
I mean, at the minute, it's like Andrew Wiggins just doesn't fit the philosophy of being a professional basketball player.
Yeah.
I do think he gets a bit of a rough ride. The guy was, drafted at Cleveland, traded to, Minnesota, meant to be the next coming. They were meant to be the next big, massive monster of a young team with, Kat, Levine, Wiggins, Chris Dunn. It was meant to be, all this big jazz and malarkey, and it just didn't work. And then obviously with Wiggins, he just faded into obscurity.
Yeah.
Like you see with some players.
I'm sick of waiting. I'm sick of waiting.
You just kind of you're like, this is going to be it. This is going to be it. And then you're like, it's not. He gives me like Kyle Lowry vibes.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
yeah.
do you know how Kyle Lowry, like, if you were to talk to people, like, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, Kyle Lowry, quite new to the league." You're like, this is like when he's good in Toronto.
Yeah.
You're like, well, he ain't. Like, he's been around for years. Like, he's
Yeah.
played at teams before. Like, like he just took a little bit longer to mature into his game than other people.
Exactly. And some players are
But
like that. Some players are like that, aren't they?
yeah. But to be fair, like, it shouldn't take you. What is it? Nearly like, what's this, fifth, sixth year in the league?
2000.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Will be. Yeah. Yeah. I
Like, it
just
shouldn't
think
take you that long.
they've got and they've got other pieces there in Wiseman looked good last night from what I've
Yeah,
seen.
yeah.
I like Kelly Oubre. It's just getting them to fit. Like, I don't think this bombing threes is gonna work this year without Clay. Like, I just think they're gonna have to adapt their basketball style to fit the sum of what the team is at the moment. And it's a bit of a detached team in that you've got loads of new parts coming together, and the core isn't really a huge core now. It's only Steph and Draymond, really.
And that's the thing. I think, like, what's been interesting is Draymond Green being talked about as, like, a defensive juggernaut, and he won. I think it was two defensive player of the years, and you're like, Draymond's the fucking real deal. Like, he's that. He's that defensive player of the year. He isn't the biggest guy on the court, but he's like, he's a presence. And then you get rid of KD, and people go out injured, and all of a sudden it's like Draymond fucking what? Who? Like,
Exactly.
he's just not getting the. I don't know. Like, at the end of the day, like, I think if the Warriors don't do it this year, or potentially Klay Thompson being injured, it's saving Steve Kerr's job.
Possibly, yeah, definitely. I agree
Do you
with
know what I
that.
mean?
But
Because,
anyway,
like, it's one of them ones where it's like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you're playing football and you had Messi, Ronaldo, Zidane, Ronaldinho, and like all the best players in the world, and you were winning, like Zidane. To be fair, Zidane at Real Madrid, where
yeah,
you're like best manager in the world, and you're like, well, it's hard to fuck it up, isn't it?
yeah, when he's got all the best players.
So, like, you almost get that kind of thing about Steve Kerr, and a lot of people that know are saying, do you know what I mean? Maybe Steve Kerr isn't the best coach in the league. He's just been credited with having a great team. But
Yeah,
let's talk about the Battle of LA.
yeah. Well, exactly. So, just for anybody who didn't know, spoiler alert: the Nets battered the Warriors.
Yeah,
And then,
just a little bit.
yeah, we move over to Paul George in his MVP season. Hey, Paul George come out last night, balled out. The Clippers beat the Lakers. The Clippers look good. The Lakers didn't look great at the beginning of last season, remember? And they've added a lot of parts. So let's not look too much into this. But Paul George looked like he was in mid-season flow. So I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But it looked to me like he had a point to prove. And if he keeps with that all year, it could be an MVP season. 33 points, I think he had last night. Let me just have a quick look. 33, 6 and 3.
You have to laugh, though, because, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing worse than, like, and here we are at the LA Lakers ring ceremony. Get given the rings.
And then the
Get
Clippers
beat.
wipe them out.
And then get beat. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, not great. Not great. And like I'm just looking down their team now. LA Clippers. Nicholas Batum started last night.
Clippers Nation. Pow, pow.
I don't know if you can win a championship with Nicholas Batum as your power forward.
But equally, would you have said, I don't know if you can win a championship where your centers are JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard?
Probably not, but they wasn't at the end of the year, was they? Because none of them really got. But yeah,
No.
but it just to that looking at that team, that just looks disjointed as well. But
I mean,
hey,
I think we are probably. Like, I'm going to call it now. We're recording this at about 12:30 on Wednesday, so the game's not been in the books for longer than 8 hours or whatever, you know. And I am waiting for numerous Lakers accounts, numerous Lakers fans, LeBron stands to go, yeah, but we won a chip, so we played a season longer, so we've had less of a break.
yeah.
And do you know what? Like,
Yeah, I understand.
fuck off. Fuck off. Like, you're the champions.
Deal with it.
Like,
Everybody's in the same boat.
Like,
in Miami, let's not take like Miami. Jimmy Butler looked like he was the Walking Dead by the end of that series. Like Miami are going to be.
you do just kind of think like you just kind of get into the rhetoric where you're just a little bit like, get what you're saying, but like let's not start making excuses for teams after the first game of the season. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, are we going to get 10 games into the season and the Lakers are like 4-6 and be like, well, you know, technically we worked an extra 2.5 weeks?
Doesn't work like that.
Do you think I can get away with that? Say that to my boss.
I know, yeah.
Like, well, see, the thing is, Gaffer, like, my performance is a little bit poor at the minute because, like, Joanne's only done an 8-hour shift twice last week, and I've done 4 10-hour shifts. So, you know, it's not technically my fault that someone's died of a medication overdose because, you know, Joanne got more time off.
Well, hey, maybe that's what it is.
Disclaimer, I have not killed anyone with a medication overdose.
And I don't know who Joanne is either. Just made her up.
The bitch that had time off.
Yeah, but we've got tonight's games. A lot more games tonight.
Your Sixers are back tonight.
I know. Against the Wizards team. Do you know what? I'm as excited to see the Wizards as I am to see the Sixers, so I'm really happy that that's our first game because, like, I'm really excited to see how the Wizards do this year. Kind of rooting for the Wizards a little bit.
But it's funny you say that, and this isn't planned in the slightest. My bozo got the Hawks.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm so excited to see like, the Hawks team because I was like, think they're going to be I mean, obviously, like I'm excited for the Hawks in the future. They're going to get pounded tonight, but you know, like
yeah. But yeah, so I'm stoked for that. I'm stoked that we're playing the Wizards. Some other big games tonight, really. When you look at it, like the likes of the Celtics and Bucks, it'll be a good game, and the Rockets and Thunder, both teams without a star. Because James Harden was in the strip club last night. I don't know if you've seen the video, seen the footage.
I have. I've seen the footage, and I'm waiting for because like
I want to know who's giving him that suitcase. Who's giving it him?
Yeah,
somebody who's giving him a suitcase. I don't know who it was.
Probably Uzi Baby and Lil Vert.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
but I mean, to be fair, like. He's just on a different level at the minute, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not a
like. Do you know when you just sit there and you go like, there's self-sabotage.
And I know.
And then there's like
what James Harden's doing.
Like, what are you trying to do? You're just trying to get like cancelled.
He'll end up in New York, and then he'll be made up, won't he?
Well, they'll be like. We've traded you, James. You better start looking at apartments in New York. And he'll be like, get in. They'll be like,
not
with the Knicks.
Yeah.
With the Knicks.
With the Brooklyn Sun.
We've traded you for Kevin Knox and Alonzo Trier. And then what we're going to do is we're going to waive them both.
Yep. And then we're going to bring in Giannis. We're going to bring in...
Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't get it. Like, there's not being happy with your organization. There was obviously talk about the fact that he pinged a basketball at one of the rookies. I'm starting to get to the point now where, like,
You're fed up with
or
him?
maybe this is like my no, man, my opposite. Like, my professional side of me is like, is James Harden all right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, because we're talking about a player that was killer focused, all about wanting to get success.
On
So
his own
now he's
as
just kind
well.
of like,
On his own. The reason he left the Thunder initially was so he could kind of make it in the league on his own. And
do you know what I mean? And it's almost like either like the fame's gone to his head. He's like, I'm on like borderline fifth signature shoot. I'm an MVP. I've got one of the biggest contracts in NBA history. Like, I should be getting the respect I deserve. Like, I should get the teammates I deserve. Well, do you know what, mate? Fuck off. Because, like, in that respect, like, your teammates over there, X, Y, and Z, do you know what I mean? Like, you've had some sensational teammates. You've had Chris Paul. Like, you've had Russell Westbrook. Like,
if Chris
not
Paul
many
hadn't got
teams.
injured, if Chris Paul hadn't got injured that year, he could
Well,
have
they're
had a
probably,
championship.
yeah. Like, and you do look at it and you go, do you know what? Like, there's not many teams that have had, in recent times, that have had two MVPs within 5 years of each other, 3 years of each other,
Yeah.
playing on the same team. So I don't know, but I'm generally like starting to just get a little bit worried about him and just think like maybe he's just
Going off the rails a
not,
bit.
just like not coping well with something. Do you know what I mean? Because like it's uncharacteristic behavior, and
Well,
he's just all over the grid.
Going the strip club and stuff isn't uncharacteristic behaviour. Like, he's always loved a strip club. The problem is now, with COVID and everything, you're putting your teammates at risk. Like, I was watching something the other day about, just going on a completely different sport, about Newcastle and the two players there, Saint Maxim and Lascelles, have got this like long-term effects of COVID. So I didn't really know much about the long-term effects of COVID. I just assumed like once you were sorted, and that was it. Because that's what happened to my missus. So that's what happened. So to actually like see what's happening to them, and Steve Bruce was saying like they can't walk up the street. Like, they're walking and they're exhausted and lethargic. And these are top professional athletes. So if you have somebody like James Harden who's not taking this seriously on the back of, well, it won't affect me, it's very, very selfish, is my standpoint.
And I think that's a lot of the issue, like for me, is that sort of like just kind of like we're not talking about like Dave that works at like B&M or Asda.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you know what? Like, fuck it. Like, I don't get paid enough.
Yeah.
Whatever, like you're an asshole as well, Dave, and whatever. But like James Harden, like, it's a global pandemic. You've got £1 million sponsors. You're on millions of pounds a year. Someone like Colin Kaepernick lost his contract for standing up for his civil rights.
You're going to lose yours for going the strip
club. And
club.
you're going to lose yours for being a twat.
Yeah. Yeah.
For like going, do you know what? Like, I'm going to ping balls at rookies and I'm going to turn up at strip clubs. I'm going to break every... I wouldn't be surprised if like the NBA gave him a big old fine.
Oh, yeah.
Because how many times can they... Like, how many times can they do the like... Just how many times can they do it? Like, he's just come back. Like, he's just out of isolation for like 5 days. Like, James Harden, mate, you are that rich. Build a pole in your house and hire some strippers to live with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But get yourself a chef that cooks your chicken wings.
The wings can't be that good. The wings can't be that good. That's all I'm going to say. The wings can't be that good. The chicken wings can't be that good.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I just think like I don't really want to talk about James Harden anymore because I actually think it's a waste of conversation to an extent because, in all honesty, we are in the middle of a global pandemic where millions of people are dying, losing their jobs, having long-term health effects, seriously affecting their mental health. And you've got somebody that's probably in one of the most privileged positions possible, being paid hundreds of millions of pounds a year, have corporate sponsors, loved and adored by thousands and millions of people around the world, thinking that he could be an absolute A-grade twat.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of where I stand as well. It's like, come on, like, but hey, here we are. This is what we're dealing with. But yeah, anyway, Sixers tonight and the Wizards. Westbrook looks like he's happy with is it Scott Brooks who's the coach? Long time coach. Yeah,
I can't remember. I don't know.
Gonna say it is because I know. He seems happy. He seems like he's enjoying himself. Some videos of him in practice, looking happy, healthy, laughing, joking. But this is what all his teammates say. He's like, all his teammates love Russell Westbrook.
He just generally seems like a real good teammate.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, don't get me wrong, when he's on the court in a full game, like, he's a little bit of a pickle.
Yeah.
Like, he's going for your rebounds and things like that, and he's, but all in all, he generally does seem like he is quite a nice person.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, Russ he's a beloved player. Like, he's cemented Hall of Fame status, shall we say, to an extent.
Well, I think so. With that triple-double
records, he's won an MVP.
If you're giving T-Mac one, you're giving Russell Westbrook one.
But I mean, to be fair, while we're kind of mentioning Hall of Fame, I mean, they've just announced that there's 3 players eligible for this year's Hall of Fame, and it's Paul Pierce, Chris Bosh, and Chauncey Billups.
Oh, I hope Chauncey and Bosh get it. Paul Pierce is annoying me now. Not just because he's a Celtic player. Like, I loved him as a player. He's just like some of his takes and like he's always talking about himself. And that 2008 Celtics team, has there ever been a team? I did put this on Twitter a while ago. Has there been a team that has won a championship and celebrated it for longer? They go for a dinner every year to celebrate the championship. Like, grow up. It was 12 years ago. Like, and before that, your last championship was in I don't know, the 80s. So, yeah, just not Paul Pierce, but I hope Bosh gets it with his, because he was really underrated in Miami. And Chauncey Billups he's missed a big shot, isn't he?
And he's a lovely bloke.
Yeah. Well, have you met Chauncey Billups?
Yeah. He's a very nice guy.
There you go. So, lovely guy as well. He does seem really nice, actually. I watched... He was on the Marbury documentary, wasn't he? Yeah. And he seemed like a really, really nice guy. So, big up the 3. They'll all end up Hall of Famers eventually anyway. Probably this year, but let's see.
Probably. Probs.
Talked a lot of basketball. A couple of fits from last night. We have Serge Ibaka wearing a bit of a madness, but pulled. Do you know what it is? People who are tall just look better in clothes, don't they? Is what I've found.
Yeah. Well, if I turned up like that,
yeah,
I'm gonna look like a slightly deranged geography teacher.
Yeah, but Serge has got he's got a fedora on.
Strong choice.
Yeah, strong choice. He likes a hat though. He's always liked a hat. Ibaka, he's always liked a hat. The other good thing that you can play with these fits this year is guess the player. It's a little bit like Guess Who, because they've got a mask on and a lot of them wear hats or hoodies now. It's like, if they don't tell you who the player is, you're kind of playing Guess the Player as well. But yeah, Ibaka's got like a white Givenchy t-shirt with some blue pinstripe pants, a satchel, and a fedora, which was pretty cool.
I think it's quite a sharp outfit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, first game, he's in, the fashion capital of that is conference in LA.
Yeah.
He's got to look a little bit bougie, Beverly Hills and all that.
Well, exactly.
And I think Ibaka he's pulled out of the bag, to be fair.
Yeah, I think he looks cool. The other one is that we've picked out, when I say we, I mean you, is a really dope fit, in my opinion. Like a really comfy, really comfy, cuddly, like... It's like a onesie material, isn't it? It looks like.
It's obviously DeAndre Jordan in this, like, furry kind of, like, thermal camo two-piece.
And a pair of Converse, I think.
And a pair of Converse. And, like, I look at that and I'm like, I wish I had the spuds to go out in that.
Yeah, I look at it and I think, oh, God, he's warm. I bet he's warm.
Oh, yeah, he's sweating. Like, his pits are moist.
Yeah. But if you look at that picture, right, I'm just looking at it now, and then behind him, you've got, who I'm going to guess is Jarrett Allen, just because of his hair, because obviously he's got a mask on as well, in just a black hoodie and a pair of grey Nike joggers, and that's it. It's like the equivalent of, like...
I mean, the one I nearly sent you, because obviously we didn't have much. Shout out League Fits for the pictures. We didn't have much, but everyone was kind of wanting the Kelly Oubre fit.
Yeah.
But nobody could find it anywhere. Caris LeVert, like, after this pod, check out Caris LeVert's, because, like,
well, I'm gonna have
that was a
now.
madness.
We're after.
Like, it was just a bit... It just, like, nah. Just, I don't even know. Like...
Just nah.
You've gone over the top committed. It was like this thick knit jumper that was like raggedy. I think it was some like tie-dye jeans and a denim mask and like a bobble hat. It was just a bit... It was more kind of like crazy Catwoman than NBA superstar.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to look at that. And I will look at it. I will find it. And I'll put it on here as well so you can see it. I think we're going to move into questions.
Let's do it.
I've got a big, long question of Mark. I'm going to say his name's Mark Follows. Yeah, Mark Follows. And he sent me this on Twitter and he said, "Hi, Mark. Hope you're good. Big fan of the store and the podcast. Thank you. Much appreciated. I have a question for the podcast. What players would you and Ginger Shaq like to see in person, and what arenas would you like to go to?" And then he explains that he had the chance to go to San Francisco at the Chase Center in February. Seen the Warriors beat the Lakers in the Heat. Loved seeing AD, Jimmy Buckets, Bam, Draymond. But seeing LeBron in action was like a massive thing. And so I'll let you go first. What players and what arenas would you like to go to?
I'd obviously love to go to United Center.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to United Center. Love to see the Bulls play regardless of what, outfit we wear at that time. Players in particular I'd love to see. I was never fortunate enough because of my age to see MJ play. I never seen Kobe play. So I'd love to see LeBron play. That would be like a bucket list moment to see LeBron in person. To meet, I'd love to meet Dame Lillard.
Yeah.
He's probably up there. Like, outside of kind of Bulls players and whatever, like, I've always had a soft spot for Dame.
Yeah.
Obviously I'd like to meet the GOAT, Doug McDermott.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the list is very... I have been fortunate enough to meet some players and stuff, but I'd love to meet... Yeah. Obviously, like, all-time like legend players. There's loads I'd love to meet.
Yeah, I
but
think
like
talking about players who are still...
But I'd love to go to the United Center. I'd also, to be fair, I'd love to go to... I would love to go to the Barclays Center.
Yeah.
Um,
I've never watched a game at the Barclays Centre, but I watched Jay-Z there. That was a
and
great
I'd
one.
be interested just because it's a very, very new arena to go and probably either see the Bucks or the Hawks play.
Yeah, yeah. For me, probably a little bit more history behind mine. Staples Centre, TD Garden. Just because it's the Celtics and Boston, there's a lot of history there. I'd also like to go to the United Centre. Uh, I'd like to do that. Players I'd love to watch. I had the chance to see two of the three that you haven't had a chance to see. I seen Kobe and LeBron play for Team USA in Manchester before the 2012 Olympics, which was cool. It was like LeBron, Kobe, KD, Westbrook, Melo, I think, was there. Luol Deng was there. Joel Freeland was there.
AD,
So, well, AD.
AD was there.
AD was there, yeah,
Because he hadn't even been
college.
drafted yet, had he? Like straight
Yeah,
from college, like.
yeah, AD. So I had a chance to see a lot of players. Players who I'd really like to see now. I'd like to watch Luka Doncic live. I'd like to watch Dame, like you say. I'd like to see Trey Young live. I'd like to see who
John
else?
Moran.
Ja Morant live. Yeah, I think that's it. Probably. I had the chance to see Jason Tatum this time last year. I've had the chance to see Embiid and Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously legendary players. I'd have loved to see Jordan. I'd love to have seen Iverson. Didn't get the chance to see either, unfortunately. But great question, very good question.
Solid.
Really enjoyed
Very
that
good.
one. Next question. Next. Here we go. If you were starting a new league in the UK, what 10 cities would have teams and what colour jerseys? Obviously, you've got to start small until you get the sports isotonic drink sponsorship and TV contract with Dave until you expand the league. So you'd probably go down the path of affiliating your basketball team with your local football teams. I'd think this was
Yeah.
my my thought, right, when I've thought about the BBL and how it's not working. And so there's a club in St Helens called Saints Basketball Club, and they've affiliated with the rugby team. Obviously, we've got a really famous rugby team in St Helens, champions again this year. And yeah, we affiliated with they affiliated with the rugby team, which I thought was a brilliant idea, and it did get my thoughts going a little bit because Everton always had a basketball team, and that was affiliated to the football team. But with the
So did Man
BBL,
United.
yeah,
So did Man United. Yeah.
there was, but they stood alone. Whereas I
Yeah.
think if you affiliate with the team, the other thing on that is if you affiliate with the team, the kind of shirt sponsors and stuff would be great because if it was like Man United, I'm sure Man United fans would buy a Man United jersey to go on holiday with, and the same with Chelsea or the same with Arsenal. So that's the route I'd go down. To choose 10 cities, it'd be difficult, but your 10 teams, I'd just use the 10 most popular football teams. And
I mean, obviously, you'd want to hit all the big points in the UK. So you are going to want a team in Newcastle. You're probably going to want 2 or 3 in London, a bit like the football. Birmingham. You're going to want Liverpool, Manchester. You're probably going to want a little bit further field, East
Bristol.
Midlands, sort of. Bristol, places like that, like, pretty much where the BBL's kind of touching, to be fair. But at the same time, like, it'd be nice for them to have that affiliation. Like, one of the cool things that I've always noticed about NBA London is whenever the teams come over, it was always during like the League Cup. So there was always a League Cup game on. And by sheer genius, there was always a London team in one of the semis or quarters.
Yeah.
So, I remember the Nuggets going to see Arsenal play. Bit more, but that again is because Stan Kroenke owned both. The Celtics went to go and see Chelsea play. Things like that. Like, it's always been a good vibe, and
yeah.
I think if you do patch them together, like you imagine if like Manchester Giants, like they're not the smallest of the teams in the league anyway now. But you imagine if, say, like Marcus Rashford and went and bought the Manchester Giants and bought a game, like put a big share in them. You crack on. You look at, I don't know, we'll say like Trent Alexander-Arnold buying a basketball team. You look at like London, if like the London Lions or like there's another London team that got bought by like Aubameyang and and all these consortium of football players.
Exactly.
Like, you're gonna go see it play. I mean, I'll even say if a basketball team got bought by Jack Grealish in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Like, people would go and see it. It's that kind of vibe factor. It's that, and you could probably pull in some of that celebrity contacts to come in.
That's exactly what my point is, because if there's a chance...
what I mean? Like, have a celeb row and things like that. And, like, you look at some players who've got deals with same sports brands. And, so you look at Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's an Under Armour athlete, and got sent a congratulations video for winning the league by Stephen Curry.
Exactly.
And he had Steph Curry, in his box at Anfield, and that'd like blow the roof off the place. You know what I mean? And,
that is exactly my point. Like these,
but again, it does all kind of stem down to, like you said, the money, and we touched on the BBL before, and
we don't really want to carry on going down that route because
nobody watched. So
yeah, but it does make sense in the fact that if there is a chance that you're going to have a Marcus Rashford, a Bruno Fernandes, a Kevin De Bruyne, a Aubameyang, these big stars in the league, a Salah, if there's going to be a chance they're going to be at a game, it's going to get people to come to those games, Do you know what
I mean? Even if the football team's based near it, so like, come on now, like, if you're a West Ham fan, go support the London Lions. Declan Rice, like someone like him, go buy the London Lions. Like, it's just down the road. Like, it's in the same area.
It's over the road.
Well, there's a lot of basketball players, a lot of football players that love basketball. So, yeah.
Definitely. One more question, and then we're done for Christmas. It's over.
Done.
We may come back in the new year. We've not decided yet. Only
depends if Mark makes it for a new year.
Yeah. Well, I've just been the shop then. I may not make it. So this one is from Sam Blake. Mr. Murray and Mr. Cruikshank, what is up? As we know, 80s and 90s basketball was probably the most physical, but what, in your opinion, have been the best brawls throughout the years of the NBA? And also, who is your ultimate hard man? Do you want to go?
Best brawl has always got to be Malice in the Palace.
Yes. Go.
Like, just like you say Malice in the Palace, you immediately know what it is. You say Rumble in the Jungle, you immediately know what it is. Like,
the Malice in the Palace.
You know what I mean?
Always be undefeated. I did like
but
the old
I will always have a little bit of respect for Ben Simmons' pathetic rear naked choke.
I didn't like Ben Simmons. Shout out to Ben, by the way. I didn't like Ben Simmons when he tried to fight James Johnson. That could have...
when you're like...
No, Ben.
Oh, just leave that one, Ben.
Yeah, he's the wrong guy. You're going the wrong way. Just not that...
Let's have a scrap. Do you know what? Like, I'm going to pick the fucking MMA fight in Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
Yeah. You do that, Ben. I'll be over here. But
go Spud Kendrick Nunn.
Yeah.
Go slap about like Frank Kaminsky. Do someone like that.
Go on it, Tyler Hero, but don't touch him.
Push over Jared Dudley.
Yeah.
Well, I know your dad's probably said to you, like, you find the biggest bloke, you hit him first. That's fine, mate. And I know you've got Joel Embiid with you, But
But
like, Joe's fucking all arms and legs, isn't he?
yeah,
He's like fucking Captain Spaghetti. He's fucking useless.
yeah. Oh my, Mr. Tickle. That's what he's like.
He's too busy fucking tweeting it. He's like, James Johnson's a bitch ass bitch.
Yeah,
Ben Simmons just there like that.
yeah. It's like when Hulk grabbed Loki and just started like smashing him one side to the other. Yeah,
It'd be the freshly squeezed Prince.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly what he'll be.
But no, Ultimate Hardman
Yes.
has got to be, for me, the Worm.
Do you think so?
Because I just don't think he gave a shit.
He definitely didn't care.
And I think, for me, that's like, obviously I'm very biased being a Bulls fan. But, I mean, obviously there's some fucking hard guys in the league. But I'd probably say like the one that's just kind of, I mean, you've just named probably the most handy of them. But
yeah, well, this is the thing. It's where'd you draw the line on somebody who's a hard man? Like, because Wilt Chamberlain had fucked you up. Do you know what I mean? Like, apparently he just like pick Arnold Schwarzenegger up with one hand and stuff like that.
yeah, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar trained with Bruce Lee.
Yeah, like,
You know what I mean? Like, if you're talking on the court, then yeah, you've got to be like, you know, keeping it within the constraints of what they're allowed to do at their time in the league.
Let's go with Rodman. We'll call it Rodman. We'll say Malice in the Palace is our favourite. Rodman.
So, honorary second place for Ron Artest.
Yeah, but what I was going to say is let's just call it the bad boy Pistons of horrible people.
Yeah, bastards.
Yeah, they were
Horrible. And they love that. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll go with the bad boy Pistons and we'll go with the Malice in the Palace. Detroit joined in both. I'm talking of another hard man. Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace was a tough dude. Yeah. But yeah, so we're done. We hope you all have a fantastic Christmas.
Yes.
We might be back in between Christmas and New Year. I don't know yet.
Yeah, we might be. But if we're not, then we just want to say thank you for supporting this fledgling podcast. It has not been the easiest year for us all, financially, emotionally, and mentally. But we as a country have stuck together and as a community smashed through it. Basketball is back. Go and enjoy yourselves. Hug your loved ones if you can. If you cannot, then connect with them in a way that you can. Reach out to somebody if you feel like they're going to be alone, because being lonely on Christmas is not a nice feeling. And secondly, on Christmas Day, enjoy it all. Enjoy your pigs and blankets, followed by your pick and rolls.
Yeah.
So I have been Ginger Shaq. Thank you.
There's nothing more I can say. If we don't see you before, we'll see you in the new year. Thanks for all your support. Everything that Ginger Shaq said, my inbox is always open. I'm sure Ginger Shaq's is too. Mine. If you ever feel like you need somebody to talk to, if you ever feel like you just want to talk basketball, if you feel like you need to open up, if anything, I'll be there. Ginger Shaq will be there. I know he will because he's been there for me and vice versa. So
yes.
We've lent on each other quite a bit this year. And if you need to lean on us, we will 100% be there for you. So, yeah, have a great Christmas, have a great New Year, and we will see you very soon. Peace.